and use national orientation for what it's supposed to be used for, which is reminding people of what it is to be a decent human being. So just because you're DG and your staff say good morning to you, answer now. Just simple courtesy. Because you're DG doesn't mean other people cannot enter the lift. So it's these things, they seem irrelevant, they seem little, but they're mighty. So corruption, one word. But it's, as you unbundle it, it's almost like they've opened Pandora's box, or they've created an avalanche, or there's the domino effect. Where does it start? Where does it end? But the basic, where it starts and ends really is with each individual. When you finish eating corn, do you throw it on the road? Your pure water nylon, where does it go? Remember when taxis used to have dustbins? And dampers used to have dustbins? And if you threw something on the street, somebody would say, "Aye, kai." Or an old woman will tell you off, or an old man, or an elderly person. None of that happens anymore.
I know a friend of mine that stopped in the middle of the road because someone dropped something out of the car and told the lady, say, get down and put it in the middle of traffic.
But we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but
no, you're seen as difficult.
The question, do we need to more or less indoctrinate children while they're in primary school, like they do in China, to make them patriotic?
Well, look at where China,
need to do things like
look
that.
at where China is today.
Well,
you see, so
it worked.
Look at where Korea is. The thing is, sometimes you make certain decisions at certain times. You see, back in the day, it was called propaganda. So if you look at the history of public information communication, it was called propaganda, and it was powerful. Stalin used it, Hitler used it, and those are awful examples. But then there are good ways that you can use it as well. So I don't want to say it as indoctrination, but let's take it from Pavlov's point of view, or social psychology, or even group dynamics that we were talking about, where you teach people. Somebody said, oh, national orientation. I said, see, if they don't have money, work with the banks and the telcos that are doing CSR. Let them provide an ethics teacher or a national orientation teacher for primary schools, for state schools, so that people remember what it is to say good morning, good afternoon, good night.
But you know,
yes, please, no, thank
you know what's also important here that I think we're missing is that history and civics have been expunged from the curriculum.
And we need those.
So, I mean, how can you shape, not even just indoctrinate, shape the mindset of a collective population that is very young, when A, there's no historical understanding of what has come before them? How did we get to where we are now? Nobody has that sense of history. So you have a whole generation of Nigerians who know nothing about Nigeria. The other part of it that has also been taken out is civics, which is exactly what you're talking about, right?
Your duties to
two quick wins. The government should institute a return of history and civics into the curriculum from primary school.
Look at America.
So we now begin to get a sense of ourselves as Nigerians.
Because the preschoolers in America, if you look at them, all they focus on, that is when they teach them about the turkey and Thanksgiving and why they do this and President's Day and Martin Luther King's Day and National Day. You know, it's that primary school. That primary school age from when you enter at age 5 to age 11, that's all you really are learning most in primary school.
Okay,
what it is to be an American and how America got to be the greatest nation that it is today. So we need to bring that back to our own country where they teach us.
Let's take Ebuka, then we'll come back to you. Hello, Ebuka.
So passionate.
Ebuka, thank you for speaking with us. What do you have to say?
Hello?
Yes, Ebuka, good morning.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, I want to make a few contributions to the discussion going on this morning. The contributor we're talking about making sacrifice by Nigerians. Nigerians not making sacrifice anymore. The sacrifice I've given to Nigeria is more. The sacrifice now will come for our leaders. Because leadership is a mirror through which people are viewed and estimated. If the president or ministers of government or DGs of government becomes law-abiding, citizens will fall in place. But the other contributor said about indoctrination at school. We've gone beyond that level because our society has been exposed to what happens around the world. And what the children copy is what their leaders and their parents and their elders do. Therefore, if we want to set an agenda for this new government, the first thing is to be determined to deal with the rot in the Nigerian system. The rot has been perpetuated by PDP for 16 years. The road had led Nigeria into bankruptcy. The road that led Nigeria to borrow to pay salaries. Therefore, first thing to do is to fight corruption. It's not about going to jail. It's about putting that will adequately deal with those who are perpetrating corruption. For example, NNPC is the cash cow of Nigeria. Until today, things around NNPC is showing in secrecy. Nobody can tell you with certainty how much oil is lifted a day, how much the lies, and how that is expended. What that is taken care of, other agencies of government are going to pick up. And therefore, it is important that the new government will make government less attractive. We can't run a country where we spend over 80% of our budget on economic expenditure. It means we are not serious people. So whether it's the executive jet or presidential jet is not the issue. The issue that leadership must wake up and say, gentlemen, we are here to bring about a change. And that change begins with us. So that's where it has to go. And other people will fall in place. If we look back to 1983, when Buhari was in government, they voted war against indiscipline. Within 7 days, you first of all saw you see queues. Because when you jump traffic light as Director General, your friends and family members will do the same thing. And the share will continue. And that is impunity. So if I know a DPO in my area, I don't obey any law. Well, I'm going to call the man, the question me. But if the law is regular and certain, and everybody is subject to the same law, there's no need for any documentation. We are going to make programs with people, starting for our leaders. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Ebuka.
I think Ebuka is on point there about the change starts with us. And so there's really a fine balance between demonstrating this change in terms of your selection of your cabinet and your own personal manifestation of how you conduct your business in your private and your public life. This thing is really a much bigger
reputation.
Yeah, it becomes back to your
Comes back to
reputation.
reputation.
And you know, you're in a culture where there's no risk of reputational damage. You know, you can get away with it. We look at these people, right? We know who these people are. They're recycled, they come back, and yet we accept them. So it's really, you know, to paraphrase what Ebuka says, the change begins with you as an individual. But there's also a larger issue about how this whole moral change and moral tenor can happen. I think, and this is why we are all even somewhat optimistic about Nigeria, that something fundamental has shifted in terms of our mindset. We voted for change, and you know, we are hoping that that change will manifest. But it's not going to manifest because we voted for change. It's only going to be manifest because we engage this government, give them no quarter, hold them accountable, right? We cannot keep doing the same things over and over and expecting different results, right?
Mr. Nana, I beg to just butt in there. This is the same Nigerian people who have been told that it is ungodly to ask questions and you know, challenge their government.
Yeah, no, but the point about it is that you are now seeing the consequences of not challenging your government. So, I mean, Nigerians are not robots. You know, we're not stupid.
So we have to start
yeah, absolutely, and there's a process for doing that. You have people, again, you're coming back to the bee in my bonnet about the National Assembly, right? You have people, when you say our reps, what does that actually mean? The people who are supposed to represent our own collective interests. We've allowed them free rein over the last 16 years. And the opacity of the National Assembly is exactly what is happening in NNPC.
This applies to the states.
Yes. The states, the impunity in the states is even worse than at the federal level. Right?
Okay.
So, NNPC, for instance, what this government needs is what I describe as radical transparency. Not just transparency. Open up the entire system. Let us know what is going on. You cannot get any information from the National Assembly about how much they earn.
But it's not just National Assembly, it's most government parastatals,
yes,
where even though there's a Freedom of Information Act, FOA is just
no, but
FOA.
the freedom is reactive.
You know what? Winding down now.
Yes,
So
it's reactive. They have to be proactive. The government has to declare that this government is going to be open, transparent, and accountable to Nigerian citizens.
I feel your passion.
Nothing less than that is
Mr.
going to
we
do.
feel your passion. But let's get to Mr. Adebo to answer this question. The Code of Conduct Bureau was set up to check corrupt practices amongst public servants. It's been doing that since 1989. But see this question. Akombi says, for Nigeria to get out of this, we need serious enforcement of law. You spoke about that. Public servants must use public utilities like hospitals, schools, and water. What's your take as we wind down?